Last week, Hunted took a hat trick of poles and his second win in a row for Tier 2 of the season, taking the championship lead with it over Grandpa. And now we come to Belgium this week for round number 7 of the season. We are past the halfway point, and let's fill you in. I'm your commentator, Ryan Ocon31. It is good to have you all join us, whoever may be watching. And now it is time for some Tier 2 action. Let's keep you updated on everything going on in RPL and everything else with it. So, Tier 2 makes its way to Belgium. Last season we'll fill you in on, because last season was very interesting, in fact. Nothing like this season, though, with the way everything is for RPL. First, let's talk about the standings, though. Hunted obviously had a Grandpa. We mentioned that 5 points, the gap between Hunted and Grandpa. JTK, 31 points back from Hunted, the championship leader. And Grogger's 43 points back. Everyone else really does not have much of a realistic chance. Obviously, still a lot of things that could happen in the season. Mathematical chance, obviously, very, very much there. And realistically, though, it's between Hunted, Grandpa. JTK has that chance in case something happens. Groggers can win a race and flop things upside down, but we're looking at a two-man championship race here between Hunted and Grandpa. With your constructors, though, it could really go either way. Red Bull turned it around the last 2 weeks after much struggles that they had, and now lead the championship in the constructors. They are 28 points ahead of Ferrari. Behind Ferrari is McLaren. McLaren are 5 back from Ferrari, but Ferrari are 28 back from Red Bull. McLaren, 33 back from Red Bull. Mercedes, they're now a race back. They're 60 points back from the championship lead. So Mercedes are really out of it, but they need a lot to happen in order for them to put themselves back in this race in the title hunt. You also have Red Bull, who obviously have taken the last 3 pole positions and two wins, but they're not a team that's been on the podium twice in one race. Mercedes have, and that's why they're in this race the way that they are. Belgium last season, let's go over that. And then Hungary last week as well. And then we'll get to some headlines. Belgium last season saw a very interesting one, to say the least. Last season, we tried a brand new sprint format for RPL that was brand new and different. It was a one-time thing. Could have been implemented more, but for now, a one-time thing in the league. It brought interesting racing, and sometimes for the right reasons, sometimes not for the right reason. This was the race last season where Leon got himself a rest of the season ban and multiple penalties. I think it was over 40 seconds in stewarding penalties alone. So he did not do himself any favors there. Obviously, he's been a lot cleaner this season. Leon has 2 back-to-back points finishes. He did the same last season, to be fair, and then fumbled the bag in this race last season as well. So again, a lot can happen, and a lot will happen. This track has had a lot of cancellations in previous seasons. We were supposed to have, I think, up to 18 or 19 show up. Right now we're at 15. Hunted just left the lobby, so we'll figure out what happened there in just a moment. But as for the racing at this track, everything else, the history behind it for RPL, I mean, it's a very historic one, and sometimes it's for the right reasons, sometimes it's not for the right reasons. But either way, at one point I think they're in this weekend we're about to have 14 attend this race, so it's good that we have 16 now, and we'll get you updated on any drivers running mid-qualifying. Either way, back to the past again. Hungary last week, though, a little bit further up. Last week, the safety car caused by Goggy and Zakaria helped Hunted win the race. Track Racer was battling him, but he ultimately fell back one day. The last couple of laps, fell back outside the points. That's the first time this game cycle, I believe, he's finished a race and it's been outside the points. Anytime he's finished outside the points, he's DNF'd. So obviously you don't need any of that. And I think Alex Bear has just gone to Ferrari because that person is not here in time. Interesting. We'll keep you up to date on any other changes, but either way, yeah, Hungary last week. The last lap, Groggers and Jackstar took each other out. Ultimately costed them in the sense. They went off the podium. Ferrari were going for 6 podiums in a row to start the season, and they don't have that anymore. They actually have the complete opposite. They have a total of 5 to start the season, and now they're looking to have a streak again going to the end of the season. So again, a lot could happen for them, but 5 of the first 6 races is not a bad stat to have in terms of your podiums. This race has been canceled more times than not, Titan mentioned previously as well. We'll get to that in a moment. Welcome chat as well. But yeah, it was Florian who went to Aston Martin, taking the podium, as well as, I believe it was it that person? No, it was Grandpa. Grandpa took the podium. That's what made the championship gap down to 5 points. The championship gap would have been much, much more if Grandpa did not take over the podium like he did. So yeah, I mean, in terms of last week's race, tons of things happen. The penalty list was just crazy in terms of what we were looking at. We were looking at multiple drivers, multiple penalties. The main thing being, as we get to our headlines now, Zakaria and Bulgogi. They have been banned from Tier 2 for the rest of the season. Their actions last week, I can say for sure on this stream, we do not like those actions. We do not like to see that kind of thing at all. And the admins, let alone stewards, took a bunch of action. In fact, the stewards felt like that Gagi took Zakaria out intentionally. Part of why they penalized him the way they did. Also, Zakaria was messing around too much with Gagi to where the stewards also felt that was intentional. And it was quite clear from the stream that that was intentional. But that safety car ultimately changed the outcome of the race and definitely changed the outcome of whether or not other drivers were able to finish high up or not. And that's what did cause that. So rest of the season banned for Gagi and Zakaria. Make PK comes back after his race ban that he had last week. Make PK also has a qualifying ban because of the amount of penalty points accumulated. Excuse me. And a couple other things as well. Kepu. Is Kepu in the lobby? Kepu is not, but Kepu just recently signed a Mercedes Academy contract for Season 11 in Tier 2. Also in that matter, you also had... It's Williams for next season, by the way, for Kepu. FBL, a Tier 2 reserve now because of recent racing. Also, another thing as well is that Jordan, where is Jordan? Jordan was supposed to be in the lobby, supposed to make the Tier 2 return. Not in here, but was scheduled to be on the lineup. And I think we have something else too. Might be one more. I'm not sure. There is more. Florian as well. Is Florian in the lobby? No, Florian is not in the lobby today. I don't know why he's missing, but... Oh yeah, he's on vacation, he said. That's right. As the Europeans would like to call it, they'd call it holiday. But yeah, that is where Florian is. He made his team change, academy change as well last week. And he's also going to change academies one more time. Next season, he's racing for AlphaTauri. And that shall be interesting, without a doubt. So, one other thing as well, before we go on board with laps. Lando Norris, on a Williams loan the last time he raced in RPL, he finished P9 at Monza for Williams, the same team as well. It was originally a Williams loan, I mentioned, but he's now at Haas because the lack of drivers missing this race is not good. Some special lineups. You have Lando in an Haas. New gamer tagging away because he's on Steam for this race. Alex Baer is loaned to the Ferrari, Leon Miner and an Aston Martin, and Vade returns as well. Missed last week. Welcome to the chat as well, and an Aston Martin. Now let's go on board with Gecko's lap in the Alpine. You go back all the way to RPL's heritage. You go all the way back to like Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. That's where Gecko's best days were, when it was RPL F1. And now he's in Tier 2, once again, obviously. And I'd say having a bit of fun. He's not one of the fastest drivers. He's not one of the slowest drivers, but he's one of those drivers who can get you a good finish. And I think he's done that a decent amount of times this season when he has raced. He hasn't raced every race, obviously. There's only very few drivers who have. But I look at Gecko and I look at my stat pad, and I mean, he's got 2 P7s. That's where that Alpine should be running. So he's doing exactly what he needs to for this team. He's got a bunch of cars in front of him, which are going to get in the way. This is tons of traffic. The AlphaTauri not being aware that the Alpine was there. And also, another car here. This is the Red Bull. That Red Bull is about to start a lap, I believe. And Gecko, with tons of traffic in the way, is going to cross the line now. A 42.8, but was there more on that lap? Who was that AlphaTauri? That was Mythic. And that Red Bull was hunted. 2 drivers who have just costed Gecko a decent time right there. Maybe it could have been ahead of his teammate. Very big questions on that. But now we watch the championship leader hunted go on board with a lap. Arouge, Radion, so many famous corners around the circuit. Now we go to the Camel Straight. This is exactly where you can maximize those revs, everything else at 29.8 right there, 213 miles per hour. Now he goes into turn number 5, which is Les Combes. And then Bruxelles, the corner where just about everyone seems to lock up. And then here is No Name. So many famous corners around the circuit. He's about to come to Pouan as well. You got yellow flags. Those are for drivers who are getting out of the way, about to start laps, whatever the case may be. He's taken Pouan very aggressively and on the limit, about to spin out as well. And then you're about to come to Campos. The end of the sector at Stabilo. What is Hunted going to do in comparison here? Grandpa 41.8, that's the time to beat. That is provisional pole. 13.3 for Hunted. And now you come toward Blanchimont. And then the bus stop chicane as well comes up next after that. More yellow flags is for Groggers in the Ferrari on a cool-down lap. JTK sets in a time that's second fastest, and now his teammate is up. Hunted enters the bus stop chicane. A little late in the braking, but that's not going to phase him whatsoever. Comes out of the final corner, your championship leader over Grandpa. Can he take provisional pull over Grandpa? You bet. 41.4. That is the time for the drivers to beat. That is a monstrous lap. Also, Mythic clocks in a time. 9th place for Mythic. Also, other drivers are about to start a lap. You have Jack Star on an outlap, Leon on an outlap, and Owen on an outlap. Owen won the championship last season. It's not been all great for him. But the good thing, though, is for Owen is that less of a field means more of a chance for him. Because last week, he got into a couple collisions. Some were not his fault. I'd say most were not his fault, to be fair to him. And his only points finished so far this season comes all the way back at Austria. That race where he probably could have had a podium. Honestly, that race was so wide open earlier this season that anyone could have won that race. That's how good of a race it was for these drivers to take advantage of. And now Owen, your past champion, 3-time champion for Tier 2, is going to try to take advantage here as well. And now going up Arouge, Radion, all the corners of this track that are famous in the Sector 1 area. He navigates his way through. DRS enabled, the battery just draining itself. And now he comes to the sector split. It is a 30.4, so he's definitely down. And that Haas is lacking some speed without a doubt. Now Les Combes. I called a chicane, to be honest, and it's a really tricky one, no doubt about it, as he comes through the corner where everybody just seems to lock up. And now, No Name. A place you want to hug the curbs, but you don't want to go out too wide because you could exceed the track limits and invalidate your lap time. Now through Pouan for Owen. Inside curbs could kill you, so you got to stay off of him. He's done just that. He's headed toward the outside curbs now. The battery almost below 50%. And now you come through this little chicane and come towards Stavilo. Just such tricky corners around the circuit. You've got to nail them. And you look at the time from Hunted to Mythic. 2.8 seconds. You don't think Mythic is thinking, I could find some time myself? I know Mythic's not one of the fastest drivers, but he knows himself that with this circuit, it's a 4-mile circuit. You can find time in so many different areas. Blanchimont. Now to the bus stop chicane for Owen. What will this lap time be? He's one of 6-7 drivers who have not set a lap time. 2 of them have qualifying bans. Some are because of loans. PKs is because of the fact that He accumulated too many penalty points. However, Owen slots himself in 9th. He is just behind Invade and Valkyrie, as well as Gecko too. Invade says Austria should add a podium, but bottled that. Yeah, I mean, Austria, I think of races like that this season, a full grid. But races like that where so many drivers, the door was wide open for them. And you just couldn't capitalize on it. And you really couldn't capitalize on it because, well, the underfunded teams, the back markers, they really, I shouldn't say they got in the way, but they messed around with each other a little too much to where you didn't take advantage the way you should have compared to the bigger teams in RPL. And that does affect you when that is the case. Leon Miner, disastrous race here last season. Hoping that is not the case this time. This time he's in an Aston Martin. And 2 points finishes the last couple of weeks. Good chance to take some this week. He's got to set himself up for qualifying though first. He's slowest of them all. Valkyrie is next. Or sorry, Tret Racer, excuse me. Valkyrie is next, though, after Tret Racer. How did I know? Tret Racer coming through up to a Rouge and Radion. We'll go on board with this lap, and then we'll talk about a couple other things as well. Chat, let us know who you are rooting for in today's race. It's very nice to know. A lot of you tend to watch because you race engineer the drivers. Sometimes you watch because you love watching racing in RPL, and I don't think Tret Racer loves going over the track limits because he's done that on his lap, and he's invalidated, meaning the lap time will not count. He might go around to see what he would have got, but if he doesn't back out, then just expect him to go to the pit lane here and race to that to get new tires. So 12 drivers have set laps. PK in the pit lane, obviously waiting to see what happens in the session and then retire, I'm assuming. Oh, we'll go on board one more lap like we said. We'll figure out what happens here. I look at championship scenarios and I look at Hunted Grandpa, realistically with how they're at. I think of the fact that Hunted, the earliest you can win the championship, I believe, is either round 9 or 10. And even then, I doubt he'll win the championship at that point. But, with the gap he has, don't expect anything miraculous. And I say that because, yes, he's got a good pole gap, but he's not going to push over the limit too much. Yes, he's looking for 3 in a row. Yes, he's doing a great job. He's got many pole positions so far this season. Same amount as Florian at 3. Someone's trying to take something off of them, obviously, if they can. But the fact of the matter with Hunted is that he's going to take it one step at a time, and he knows with the gap he can. He can do that, and Grandpa can't do that. And he spun into the barrier. He was improving, but pushing a little too much results in some unforced errors. It's the man second in the championship who just went into the barrier right there on that lap. Going to need some new fresh tires. We'll make sure we switch to another driver on a lap. How about JTK, who was right behind that spin, in fact? Got sponsors like Cash App, Walmart, Mobile One, Oracle. So many historic things about this Red Bull team in real life. And then you go to the game and you look at the championship last season in RPL and Tier 2. The amount of championships they've previously had in RPL, let alone. Red Bull have been impressive. And I look at the team specifically and think, man, the history behind it with this league, absolutely astonishing. It's for those of you unaware, it's a realistic league, and it's in the name, realistic performance. But the fact of the matter is that Red Bull have lived up to what they should in real life in the game and done just more than that too in RPL. Second fastest JTK goes. It's a front row lockout right now for Red Bull, and we'll see if Groggers can split between those two Red Bulls. Invade says he went purple, then went deep, and was 3/10 up. And that would have put Invade 6th fastest. Maybe 5th fastest. Who knows? Groggers comes to the line. Improves the lap time. Gets himself just behind Grandpa. Much, much more closer. But not enough to improve a spot on the grid. We have Leon Miner on a lap. No, he invalidated. We have Mythic on a lap. Owen on a lap. We're going to watch Mythic. He's one of the only drivers on the track on a lap, but he just went wide. He has messed that one up, so we're now staring at nobody on a lap at this point. Haunted goes to the pit lane, aborts it. JTK on a cooldown lap. Grogger's invalidated. Owen about to start a lap. Mythic is coming back to the pits, it looks like. And now the drivers set themselves up for the final run. We have 6 people watching. So, give us your pole prediction. Let's see. I'm going to predict, though. I'm going to predict Haunted on pole, but I'm thinking it's going to go to a 41-3 if he does improve. And let's find out. Let's find out if he can improve it. Because if he can, it will be big for this championship. Obviously, starting on pole, very, very crucial in RPL most times, but the last couple of weeks have not been the case. The Tier 1 pole sitter has not won a race since 11 races ago. In fact, we look at Tier 2, which is this tier in RPL, and you look at the amount of races won from pole here, it's not many times. I'm trying to find where it is on here. It's on my sheet somewhere. Watch Owen on a lap, by the way, while I look for that. Where is it on my sheet? Oh, yeah. Pole sitter. Only won 4 of the last 10 races. It's not like it's a very common thing for the driver to win pole here in RPL. I mean, we've seen it last season. Owen was in a Red Bull. Owen won this race in a Red Bull, in fact. So, you know, and he won it from pole, I'm pretty sure. If he didn't win from pole, he was at least second. So, you know, there's a lot of things that go into this. You don't always want to have pole, but it's so crucial around a track like this when, in my opinion, although the slipstream is very powerful, I think personally having pole here is a really good thing. Just because you can kind of execute the line into turn 1 and then set yourself up. But there's a couple things about it. You know, you get to play the race out. You get to lead the race. I mean, there's so many things that you could think about that's good having pole position here. I mean, recently in RPL, it's not been the best of things. Florian converted only 1 of his 3 poles into a win. Haunted's converted 2 of those 3 poles into a win. So, yeah, I mean, it's good for him to have a pole, but it depends how much farther is he starting ahead of Grandpa, though. It's just the preview for the race. But not everybody has the same race pace. Hunted's got the 1-lap pace, and does Owen have the 1-lap pace to set himself up further on the grid? Owen comes across the line in the Haas. He is going to go faster, but cannot improve a place, and that likely was his final lap, unless he can cool it down, stay at 95%, and get back to the flag to create another lap if he has enough fuel, and he is burning that fuel. He does not have enough. There are more drivers who are on laps, and more drivers who are starting laps. We'll watch somebody who's starting a lap. How about Invaders on a lap? We've been talking about Invaders in the Twitch chat and interacting with us, but now he is invalidated. He's gone a little bit too wide. I just seen that in the stream replay, and that is not good. Tret Racer has left the session. I don't know what that happened, but and now we'll go to the drivers who are completing laps here. Gecko is one of them, I believe. 202, 203, he hits into the bus stop chicane. Comes across the line now. He's got a car in front of him, but this should be his final lap. He's got his Alpine teammate. Can Gecko improve? Gecko comes across the line. He's ahead of his Alpine teammate. He is 5th on our timing charts. Can anybody do anything about that, though? Jack Star on an out lap. Will everybody on an outlap make it back to the flag? You got JTK who will. Groggers potentially will. Jack Star should. Invade retires from the session, and multiple drivers either giving up or finding that their hopes are coming undone for the session. You have Groggers starting lap in front of Valkyrie. Valkyrie getting some slips coming to the line from Groggers. Valkyrie goes 5th fastest. Invade feels he could have gone much quicker, only being 9th. More drivers are going to come across the line. Tret Racer could not get in a lap. Checkered flag for those guys. Leon on a lap as well. He's invalidated that one. Mythic has not invalidated his, but he'll be the first one to come across the line. Invade feels pacey, but did not show it in qualifying. 4 tenths up for Mythic, who could pass Invade if he can just find time in the last sector. is really not gone AlphaTauri's way because their last points finish this season was back at round 3 in Austria in that chaotic race. We mentioned as well Valkyrie. Valkyrie, her average running position has not been good since that podium in Spain, so it's downgraded. However, for Mythic, who's had some decent finishes so far, not got many points, can he get himself up on the grid? He doesn't improve his time, but he can improve his place. Leon was 5/10 up, but he's invalidated the lap. Next is Red Bull. Is that Hunted or JTK? Hunted comes across the line to improve the pole position. 3/10 ahead. He is into the 41.3s, but can anybody beat that? Next up is Tadpole. Tadpole is 5th and ahead of the teammate. Next up is Grandpa. Grandpa, 2nd in the championship, invalidated the lap time. And that is going to be it from him. Gecko invalidated. And next up will be Jackstar. Jackstar following with the Red Bull. There's contact. This is not good for JTK's lap. And Jackstar comes across the line. Can Jackstar improve? No. JTK can't either. And now it's up to Groggers. Groggers comes across the line. Groggers improved, but could not improve a place. And that is almighty close for 3rd. But it is going to mean Hunted with 4 consecutive pole positions at a time he needs it most by leading the championship and looking to extend that gap by starting on pole. 3/10 ahead of the competition. 41.3 he had. I called it too. I did say he was going to be in the 41.3s if he did improve, and he did just that. All right, now here is your qualifying order. It's a Red Bull front row lockout. Red Bull have tons of pace around here. You can tell this track is very much suited for them. However, can anyone else say anything about it? Behind the Red Bulls, which they lock out for, I believe, the 2nd time in a row. Maybe 3rd time in a row, actually, with France. Yeah, I think that is 3rd time in a row, actually. Grandpa is 3rd. 2nd in the championship. Groggers rounds out the 2nd row. Tadpole rounds out the top 5. Then it's Valkyrie, Gecko, Jackstar, Invade, and Owen running out the top 10. Owen needs some points. Outside the top 10, we have Leon Miner, last of the runners. Alex Bear and the Ferrari on loan to Ferrari is at the very back of the grid with a qualifying ban. Lando Norris as well in his return to RPL back there for Haas. Tret Racer cannot get a lap in for Mercedes. And Make PK returning after a race ban. Had a qualifying ban at AlphaTauri. Well, Invade, I could tell you that answer in just a moment. However, our strategy is what we're going to talk about right now. The strategy for the drivers. You will want to go soft hard, medium hard, or the reverse strategy. Soft medium or medium soft is a very much a Hail Mary. But we'll see if the drivers pull either one off. And Invade, your last points finish, to my calculations, is back at Austria. And expect drivers to lose 18 seconds in the pit stops. ERS, you gain back in the pit lane 17%. And we now look at what the drivers choose to go to. Looks like some are going bullet the soft, some might switch out. But the last 2 rows of the grid, Lando Norris and Tret Racer, Alex Bear and PK. Drivers who had to serve qualifying bans either due to coming in late or actions on track. So we'll find out how they do from the back of the grid. And we set ourselves up for 22 laps of racing here at Spa. And we just wait on the drivers as well to get in their setup, mess with their fuel, and choose their strategies. Any last minute predictions? Make sure you get them in. Just waiting on the drivers. Here we go. Here come the 5 red lights for round number 7 of the season. It's lights out, and away we go. The Red Bulls get off the line pretty decent, but Grandpa's going to challenge JTK already to the right side. You can see Groggers looking to protect fourth place already. Side by side between Grandpa and JTK. There was a little bit of contact. You can see off in the road in the back is Trent Racer using the runoff, but side by side on the run to Rouge. Grandpa staying ahead of JTK. Behind that, they continue to jockey for position, all remaining single file throughout the field as they run up toward Rouge, and here comes Grandpa. Grandpa second in the championship, wants that championship lead back, side by side, 2 by 2 into turn number 5. There's contact between Grandpa and Hunted. Grandpa off the road and into the lead, and they touch again. Grandpa and Hunted continue to touch as Groggers gets third place and wants a bit of the action. Now Hunted to the outside line. He wants more of it, and still looking. He's got Groggers now to the inside. Groggers takes second place in the race, while Grandpa takes over the race lead from third on the grid. Gecko getting Owen side by side between them toward Puan. Gecko losing spots as well. Owen on the inside line. They touch. There's Gecko off and almost into the barrier. Invade's collected. Invade toward the back of the grid. You have Lando Norris avoiding the cars in a very treacherous manner there. That was very, very tight, and Trent Racer as well gets a spot on Mythic. Hunted losing out crucially on that start. You know, he's mentioned previous races, his race pace is much better, or sorry, much worse than his qualifying pace. His qualifying pace much better than his race pace. You could see the difference already, and that start was not critical for him, but critical for Grandpa. 2 spots gained, 2 spots for Groggers. And Groggers gonna have a look at the bus stop chicane. Groggers is gonna send one, but he can't get anything from it. It looks like it is Hunted into the pit lane. Hunted has got damage. Hunted has had something happen, and this is not good to your championship leader. Grogger said he needed this kind of moment to get himself back in the championship race, and you can see Lando Norris making contact with Make PK, and he's lagging out. PK back on the road, and there's PK off and out of this race. And that brings out the safety car. That is exactly what Hunted needed. And now Hunted and Invade in the pit lane with the help of the safety car. Invade seeing the Aston Martin teammate of the safety car come back out on the track for the first time, but you can now see the spots gained so far in this race. PK in his return after the race ban, not what he needed. A race ban, the qualifying ban, and then out of the race already. So really not much running toward Make PK's liking, and not much running at all, really. We look at the positions gained before the tires. 7 for Trent Racer, 2 for Leon, 4 for Lando, 2 for Owen, 7 for Alex, 4 for Jackstar, 2 for Tadpole, Groggers, and Grandpa. And Tadpole already up on the podium spot. Fair play. And we've got Leon who spun at the back of the grid in the TikTok Aston Martin. I have given you an invite back to the session, Lando. I think you should be back in now, but let's see if any drivers head toward the pit lane. Hunted looks like might be going for a 2-stop now with these medium tires. Invade, with the help of the safety car, would need a miracle to make it to the end, but goes with the hard tires, and nobody from the front 5 looks like they're pitting. And why would you at this point, if that's the case? Unless you have damage. Owen is in. Mythic is in. And I'd expect Leon Miner to be in as well, but he's not. I don't think he picked up any damage. And that will mean Hunted does gain, I believe, a spot or 2 from all this pitting. We'll look at what they do in terms of the pit stops. But what a start. I mean, it was just crazy how they were getting at the start. They were just attacking each other. Left, right, and center. Owen fixing damage. Mythic just going on a new set of tires. What could you lose at the back of the grid there, you know? And second straight race with a safety car. Not good at all. I mean, JTK, like, fell back on that start as well. I don't know what happened there. Because Grandpa and Groggers took full advantage. I don't know what happened. I don't remember if JTK spun under the safety car or just lost those spots, but... Yep. That's how that turned out. Not so good for Make PK, who's out of this race already, our first retirement. And to be fair to Alex Bear's credit in that Ferrari, he's done extremely well in that Alfa Romeo so far this season. 2 points finishes in his first 2 starts the last 2 weeks here in RPL. Really shown what he can become. You know, a lot of our new drivers have really shown their strides and taken full advantage of their opportunities. You look at Cam in Tier 1, who was an Alfa Romeo. Out, you know, with that start at Ferrari, took his first pole position. You had Annex in Tier 1. You have so many drivers who've taken advantage in just first couple of races here in the league. They deserve tons of credit. And I believe we might be getting a notification for the safety car coming in at the end of this lap, and so far we've not. Also, by the way, with Owen there pitting, I know it helps him. He's in the same strategy as Hunted now. Lando into the points. It deserves to be mentioned that Haas have not had points since round 4. The P8 finish was their last points finish, and Invade has collided with Owen under the safety car and got himself a penalty. He is, in fact, missing a front wing, and I think Jack Star is pitting. He is. Is it a front wing change? Yes, yes, it is. He's ran under the same, ran into somebody under the safety car. Invade's done the same thing. Obviously, he's got the penalty for it. Jackstar didn't. So we'll see how that fares out with all the drivers. They're serving the 5-second penalty first, which is good. You got to get that out of the way. Meaning we're gonna have the safety car come in this lap now. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Mythic earlier in our qualifying session with the, you know, finishes he has had. He's not DNF'd in any of his last 11 starts. So the fact he was back there, you know, obviously shows he just stays out of trouble. Alright, so 6 of you watching now under the safety car. Let's see what happens when we go back to green flag racing, but let's keep you notified where we are the rest of the weekend. F2 is tomorrow at Hungary. There likely will not be a stream for that. First time that's happened in a long while, actually. Usually I wouldn't say that for F2, but it's the case. And F1 will be streamed tomorrow at USA. Circuit of the Americas. We are in Texas. And, that's a championship battle we'll watch out for. I mean, with this current championship battle in Tier 2, look at the points gap right now. It's a 20-point gap between Hunted and Grandpa with this current running order we have. Safety car is in. We will see how Grandpa leads the way. By the way, for those of you watching Tier 2 this week, we're at Singapore next week. And that will be under the new layout of the track, so it shall be interesting to see how these drivers tackle it. However, can Grandpa keep the rest of the field at bay? That'll be the question on the safety car restart. Starts on hards, and we'll transition to a better tire once he figures it out. But for now, he leads the way. Safety car comes into the pit lane, and it's a matter of time when he goes. And time to bring the action once more. Grandpa caught the field napping, and Grogger's already 6/10 back. You're going to have Tadpole, third place, who takes advantage of this. Alpine, one of the teams without a podium this season. Aston Martin, best of the rest, they took their first podium last week of the season. Alpine, you have to go all the way back to Italy last season with Molly, the last podium for them. Tadpole took a podium last season, so now Tadpole, who runs on the podium spot, looks to do just that. Behind that, Hunted gets 10th place over Leon Minor. Behind that, you can see more cars jockeying for position. Owen on the inside. Jackstar trying to muscle up his way up to 13th. He does just that. Gets Mythic. And now we go toward the race lead. Trap Racer following JTK, and now up in front of that, Valk following Tadpole. This is close for third place, and here comes Valkyrie. Revving it up, but can't get past. Trap Racer also behind JTK, and you can see outside the points here, Owen, Jackstar, and Leon. 3 wide, not gonna work. Off the road goes Owen, and off the road, Leon and Jackstar both go. They're around. Leon off the road. Mythic got a piece of that. Leon sliding after the contact. And Jackstar is left outside the points and left in the dust and still can't get back going. Now he's going. Mythic does give up the spot to Leon, and we saw a spot trade there that might have been Trap Racer and JTK, excuse me. But now the gap for the lead, 2/10. Ken Groggers get around Grandpa. Groggers has had a podium in 7 of his last 10 starts, looking to make it another one. In fact, would love to make it a win because in this game cycle, I believe he's second all time in terms of wins. Tied for second with Bonkers. He would love to take the race lead. Can Groggers get around Grandpa? Groggers looks the outside line. They almost touch. Grandpa ahead in the braking zone and remains ahead. Oh, Tadpole almost touched the back of Groggers right there, but Grandpa with the race lead. Once again, Hunted, by the way, took 9th place over, and Trap Racer takes the fastest lap as here comes Groggers, sending on the inside line. Can he take the lead? He does. No DRS yet, but it got the move done. And now, Grandpa, Tadpole, and Valk run very, very close behind. Grandpa following Groggers up Arouge and Radion to the Camel Straight in the slipstream. Valk gets Tadpole. Valk has tons of overspeed. The battery being used. Now Grandpa on Groggers. Outside line. Valk sends it in the inside, and Valk goes spinning around. Valkyrie. The average running position for her has been much, much worse since that podium in Spain. It was looking to turn right in the right direction, and Gecko is off. Gecko with contact brings out the safety car. Yeah, she was trying to improve Valkyrie that running position and was doing so until she spun out, and now this changes the race completely because Valk lost spots. Hunted lost the spot, I believe, on Lando, and now the safety car changes this race. Once again. And now it comes a question of who will pit, who will not from this, because this is a very hairy situation for some of our drivers who could probably make it to the end of the race. Could all make it to the end of the race? Probably not. But if you do end up pitting, there does become the concern of a puncture. And I say not all can pit because some people start out on the hards, others start out on the mediums, and you can see Groggers choosing to pit. Grandpa stays out. He was on the hard tires. Alex Bear stays out, but others on the mediums, such as Tadpole, pit. Lando stays out. Hunted staying out. Anyone else pitting? Valk is. Valk obviously had the contact, could have picked up damage, so reasonable enough to pit right there. And we're now down to 14 runners. We had 1 DNF earlier in the season in Spain, I believe. Was it 1 or was it 2? It was 2. We're now at 2 DNFs in this race. Our second safety car. We had the same amount, I believe, last week in Hungary. I think we had 2. We've had more safety cars in other races this season, so this is not like it's abnormal in RPL this season so far. But we have had a good stretch of races, though, to some extent. I mean, last week was inconsistent with the track limit penalties, the driver penalties, a lot of it, the safety cars, but Belgium's been interesting toward Tier 2. I think it was very good for our Tier 1 drivers this season. DNF rate wasn't great, but for our Tier 2 runners last season, it was not spectacular at all. It was, in fact, terrible. And by the way, Haas now have both cars in the points. You got Lando in the points. You got Owen in the points. I mean, they need this. They really need this. Haas need this. Got both Red Bulls around them. You know they're doing the right thing if they got both Red Bulls around them. And Gecko leaves the session. Out of this race already, not one of the happiest people, no doubt about it. And safety car should be staying out obviously a little bit longer because Jackstar has to catch up to the back of the pack. He pitted for hard tires. You can see all the drivers who are new hard tires, they should be able to make it to the end of this race. That is why they've pitted, and some of them have taken a bold strategy with it. Reasonably so, because if they don't, I mean, what chance are you going to have for a race win or a podium here? Alex Bear up there on the podium right now. Track racer at a podium in Hungary. Up there on the grid as well. Pitting is mythic. Leon Miner also ducks into. Those hards can make it 14 to 17 laps here. So, I mean, we're looking at drivers who are on the cliff/puncture territory by the end of this race. But you're also looking at drivers who... it's really tough to say. I mean, these guys going for the mediums right now, 13 to 15 laps. They could make it to the end, but they're risking it. They're risking their lives right here on the track, and that's the problem. They're not risking their lives physically. They're just risking their chances of making it to the end of this race and maybe DNFing. So, I mean, the hard runners who are on new hards should make it. Maybe some question marks. They just got to manage their tires quite well. Medium runners have more question marks than they do because their tires are going to fall off very quickly, the medium runners. However... it's really close on if they'll be in the puncture territory or not. I mean, their tires are going to be on the cliff, as I mentioned. Leon and Mythic are really pulling it, but they're one of the slower drivers in the league. They both know it. They both admitted it before, and they're fine with that being the case. However, with being one of the slower drivers in the league and one of the drivers who usually don't take points positions at the end of these races, Leon only 2 this season. Mythic, I believe, either 1 or 2. I have to look that up with Mythic to see how many he has this season. But when you're like one of those drivers, you take gambles because you can't finish in the points based on pace most times. And they're doing just that. Same with the hard runners. Groggers, Tadpole, they know they can make it. They're just trying to counter their rivals like Grandpa, JTK, Hunted, and Alex Bear and Track Racer who all stayed out. However, it's very interesting with these guys, though. If they don't get the safety car at the front of the field, the top 8, how do they fare in the sense compared to the other drivers? Safety car is in this lap. Remember, if you want to catch the action for next Tier 2 race, we're in Singapore next week at the same time. We're also at Texas in Circuit of the Americas for Saturday's race. 3 Eastern, 8 UK, same time. Just different day. Grandpa trying to lead the field to the green flag in a safe manner. Trying to figure out what he can do to win this race. Obviously on a different strategy on those hards, gonna have to go to the mediums, maybe the softs if he wants to go for a Hail Mary when he does pit. But now the field will be at much worse conditions on their tires. We're trying to warm them up now. Grandpa's slowing much down to 50 miles per hour. And now he goes. And he's caught Alex Bear, the other Ferrari, napping again this time. 5/10 the gap as we head to the bus stop chicane. At the back of the field, Mythic gets Leon, and Leon's got a penalty for colliding with Jackstar there at the back of the grid. Something happened there, but he's got a missing front wing. That's not good for Leon. I'm sure he would have not wanted that. He had a chance for points, honestly, with that kind of strategy, and now Hunted chases after Lando Norris. Can Hunted get Lando? More importantly, can Alex Bear get the race lead off Grandpa? Alex Bear with the battery. He's going around the outside. Can Alex Bear get this here? And they come. Alex Bear into the race lead for the first time in RPL. What a beautiful move. Hunted goes ahead of Lando. And now Lando trying to keep his teammate at bay of Owen. Both on similar strategies. Trying to do just that. Lando, I think, got the boot there from Owen. A little bit of contact. Nothing too worrisome. However, Owen threw on Lando. Lando now going to try to hold off Groggers. Lando has Groggers on the inside line. Side by side, Groggers muscles through on Lando Norris. Takes what is the net lead out of these runners who have pitted and can make it. Now Invade trying to get by Lando. Lando being eaten alive on these much more worn medium tires. Lando gives Invade a little bit of a block. Lando off the road, and now Invade to the inside line. Wheel to wheel. Invade ahead. Now Tadpole's chance. Tadpole gets ahead. Valkyrie trying to heat up Lando. Can Valk get through? Yes, Valk does. Now here comes Jackstar. Jackstar with, Lando. Excuse me. Jackstar off the road, and Jackstar is ahead. Groggers also got ahead of Owen, and now Tadpole on Invade. Side by side, a neat little battle to the bus stop chicane. Tadpole ahead. Invade also getting muscled through with Valkyrie right there as well. Those hard tires are now starting to come up to temperature because you can see most of those guys making some moves, and Jackstar to the inside of Invade. Atlas Source, Jackstar through. Invade challenges his back on the outside line. Can't do it. And now up to the front of the field. Hunted trying to get back up the field where he lost those spots at the start of the race. He's got Grandpa now in second place. And could well do this. Hunted gaining, but can't make a move on Tret Racer. He's not close enough by the time of Sector 2. Grandpa also trying to follow Alex Bear with Tret Racer under threat. And Tret Racer has a look to the inside. Now going to go down the outside. Can't do it. He's now got Hunted for company. Hunted on that outside line. He's got to make sure to give Hunted room. Hunted going to try the switchback now. Now, pulls left side, pulls right side. Hunted can't go through. We're almost at halfway in this race. We should see how this fares. When do these guys who have not pitted pit? Groggers would have the lead of this race with those guys yet to pit in this race. Or sorry, who have pitted in this race compared to those who have not pitted, excuse me. You can see Hunted wiggles a little bit. And now Tret Racer trying to get Grandpa to wiggle. And trying to force an error into second place in this race. Tret Racer gaining. He's trying to find the time to get by. Slipstream, battery, all at use. Inside line. He dives down the inside. This is a late one. They touch. Now side by side, Grandpa and Tret Racer. Hunted wants his action. 3 wide. And in the background, JTK and Groggers now. This is a big fight for second place in this race. And now Hunted and Grandpa, the 2 championship protagonists, touch. And Hunted goes into Tret Racer. Grandpa into Tret Racer. Tret Racer keeps second place on the road, but Hunted wanted third place as well as second. Side by side in the background, Owen and JTK before Rouge and Radion. That got very tight. And now Hunted trying to muscle past Grandpa, who threw a block there toward the chicane on the Camel Straight, and that got tight. Grandpa remains in second place. The 2 championship leaders getting very feisty indeed. This is called Groggers up, excuse me. Owen tried to make a move there on JTK, and spinning is Tret Racer. That brings out the virtual safety car, but tons of carbon fiber fly in the air, and Tret Racer goes down the order as Groggers picks up a penalty for that contact. The game being very harsh for the penalties today. You saw Groggers ahead of Owen. Valkyrie as well. I guess getting Tadpole after that contact. JTK a big gap now to Hunted too. And JTK, who got involved in that, missing front wing. Tons of cars with contact. When will the VSC ends now becomes the question. And who takes advantage? Luckily, only a VSC, so if it stays out long enough, Alex Bear and the other runners can pit and go to the medium tires and make it the rest of the way. However, it all is a matter of when the virtual safety car ends. In fact, Alex Bear is coming in. But I think once he hits the pit lane, the virtual safety car might end. Grandpa pits. Hunted stays out. JTK obviously pits. He had damage. You have no other choice. And I wonder if this virtual safety car gets upgraded. However, it's been out for a very long time. Now it's ending as they're in the pit lane. Fixing front wings, coming out of the pit lane. So now they're on new medium tires to try to catch back up to the field. And now Jackstar in the back of Tadpole. So everything has cycled itself out to Owen running on the podium for Haas. Haas have never had a Tier 1 podium. They had a podium last season in Vegas, where Ferrari had their last 1-2, the last 1-2 in this league in a race. Here goes Grogers, who was a part of that 1-2, having Owen for company and threatening him. Valkyrie as well being threatened by Tadpole for 4th place in the race. Jack Starr follows suit on the back. And Lando Norris, one of 2 drivers, or sorry, the only driver, in fact, now, yet to pit in this race. I thought it was 2 drivers, but Hunted has pitted. He pitted in the first lap of this race, in fact. Comeback arc JTK. Yeah, can JTK do it? Very big question there in the chat, and very big statement. I don't know if it was more of a question or a statement. I think it was more of a statement, but I must say, if those guys get helped by a safety car, game over for these guys up in the top 6. I mean, Owen's probably not going to make it. He could stretch it. Haunted, definitely not going to make it. But it's interesting, though, because Grandpa got helped by the safety, or the VSC, excuse me. And now, this puts a big statement on this championship race, because if Grogger somehow wins this, I know he has the penalty, he could appeal it. But if he does win this, big questions on what happens. You can see some of the field on DRS range invade, as well as JTK behind him. And for the race lead, Grogers has Hunted ahead of him. How far can he go in these medium tires? And is he looking to go to the softs at the end? Those softs only last 9 to 11 laps. He could make it, but the question is the ideal lap time ratio. You know, you have 5 or less laps that those softs are good enough for. Will he do it? And now Owen has Valkyrie around the outside. Valkyrie gets ahead. Owen has to contest 3rd place for Valkyrie. Valkyrie up back into the podium spot after Valkyrie had her troubles to start this race with that spin there at the start of Sector 2. Jack Starr behind Tadpole, and now JTK gets ahead of Invade. Interesting thing, though, if, you know, obviously Hunted pits and you got Grandpa there in 10th place. Alex Bear is ahead of this battle, so whatever happens there, it does rely on Alex Bear, who is in his 3rd RPL start, getting a chance at the Ferrari. We'll see what he does. Well, lots of drivers backed out last second, so he's getting his opportunity now. And now for the lead, Grogers and Hunted. Grogers said, I need something to happen. I need something to happen to Hunted. I needed something to happen in Hungary, and I just didn't get it. And now, down the order goes Tadpole. He is spinning off and out of harm's way for none of these drivers to get collected. Now for the lead, Grogers and Hunted go side by side right there. That was close. Grogers wants his chance. Hunted keeps the lead. Grogers said he wanted something to happen, needed something to happen, in fact, with Hunted and them to have a chance at this championship gap. I mean, look at the points he lost in Hungary. He could have been ahead of GTK for 3rd. Think of the what ifs with his championship scenario. And Grogers not needing to pit. Hunted does. Alex Bear with the fastest lap, and that's a big train for 7th now. Tadpole's been invited to this battle, and not by his wishes. Jack Starr around the outside muscles past Owen, and Grandpa threw in Mythic. Mythic obviously losing places, pitted very early there. And now for the lead, Hunted and Grogers. Hunted off the road for a moment. Rihanna's right alongside Grogers, and Hunted will keep the race lead. But at what cost? Because it's losing him time and he still has to pit to get off those mediums. Can he make it the rest of the way on those mediums? Right now, yes, he does have his required pit stop done. But on those mediums with how much they've worn, I mean, this is ridiculous. He's got 60% on those tires, at least at a minimum. He's going to have to pit if he wants to make it. And he's going to need soft tires. That's what that's what I think he's going for. He wants the pace in the last couple laps. However, like I said, at what cost? Alex Bear sends one on Lando. What a dive bomb. He goes through. Alex Bear trying to muscle his way back to the field. His gap to Hunted now, 7 seconds. I mean, this is going to be an incredible race with Alex Bear catching up to the field. Invade with a penalty. Track limits, the first of our runners. And now Lando wants the opportunity back in his academy teammate. Lando making his return for the first time since earlier this season in Italy, or sorry, earlier last season in Italy, excuse me, as Haunted Pits. Haunted Pits, and now goes to the medium tires. Why the mediums? I thought he was going to go to the softs. That surprises me. He didn't get the safety car that he maybe was wishing for. However, hole wide open. Valkyrie looking for the lead on the Groggers. Valkyrie has won an F2 race here in RPL. Never a Tier 2 race, though. She looks to the inside of Groggers. He's looking to protect him, Valkyrie. Inside line for Valkyrie to the race lead. Side by side, though, Groggers keeps his nose in. Groggers had to back out, and Valkyrie remains to the race lead. Now Alex Bear, does Alex Bear have enough pace to chase after Valkyrie? The gap is 5 seconds, and the gap is coming down. Valkyrie does have a train behind her who could help hold on to the lead, but the gap is really coming down. Grandpa takes over 6th place. And look at what that does between Grandpa and Hunted now. Hunted ahead of Invade with that penalty, but what happens there for our championship lead, as Grandpa would take 8 points, the gap would be 3 points. Grandpa ahead by 3 points. I mean, it's amazing that championship race, what could happen here. Leon Miner with a track limit penalty is first of this race. He's hoping for a miracle to take points, but a much cleaner race this time from Leon and Spa. The gap is down to 4.1. This is ridiculous. You see medium tires compared to hards. Lando yet to pit, maybe looking to go for a Hail Mary on the softs. I mean, he's helped a little bit in his teammates battle. Helped DRS. Or, sorry, Academy teammate battle. Alex Bear through on Owen. Now only 3 cars to get through to the lead. Lando's still staying out. I'm interested to see if Lando's waiting for a late race safety car and excelling on those softs. I think that's the only way that Lando is staying out reasonably here. And I think everybody behind Valkyrie using a bit of that battery. They've got the rear wing open. And now Jack Star chasing after Groggers. And Groggers chasing on the race lead. Groggers to the inside. Side by side. And they come. Groggers back in the race lead. Gets the move done on Valkyrie, but it's gonna cost them time. The teammates in the background. Jack Star down the inside. Side by side for 3rd place. She's looking for her 2nd podium in Tier 2, but they continue to go wheel to wheel. Jack Star off the road. Valkyrie with the inside line for the next corner. Side by side, they touch! They're both around! Oh no! And the door is now wide open for Alex. Oh my gosh. Who saw that coming? I did. There's part of me that did see it coming. And now Alex Bear, 2 seconds to his teammate of Groggers. Grandpa onto the podium. And Haunted didn't take any of these places from these guys, but he's got Lando yet to pit, Jack Star, and Valk, who just spun. So you've got a hungry Haunted. And now JTK on Tadpole. Had to back out right there. Owen now pits. I mean, Lando stayed out for 16 laps on these mediums and made it work. What's Lando's tire wear at here? 80% almost. Wow. Owen pitting. We have a battle on the inside line. Haunted and JTK, the 2 Red Bull teammates. Man, don't cost each other here. Haunted backs out. JTK in front chasing after Tadpole now. Looks at the outside line. Gets the move done. Haunted now looking on Tadpole. Using a bit of the battery to get JTK the teammate. Can't do it yet. This is surely frustrating toward Haunted because you want to minimize the trouble in the championship. And oh, teammate contact. That's a teammate. Yeah, I mean, Valkyrie's not far in front. Jack Star is still not far in front. That's for 4th place. Maybe a podium if that does not get appealed, the 5-second. Lando as well, yet to pit, so you will take that opportunity with a grain of salt. Yellow flags. That is Trot Racer around in the gravel and digging up some grass. Now JTK getting caught behind Valkyrie for 7th place, and now the teammate of Haunted wants the place over JTK. You know how much that would help in the championship. JTK is through. Alex Bear for the race lead is through. Haunted now trying to get through on Valkyrie. Big for this championship, by the way. Sends it! Ooh! This gets tight. Outside line. Valkyrie around almost. Luckily, she didn't go around. But Alex Bear took the race lead, and now Haunted trying to take over 6th place on the teammate. Woo! Ay, ay, ay. I mean, you still got Lando yet to pit, so this will be 5th place, and let's say it's 5th place. Here we go. Haunted looking on JTK, can't get through. The teammates have not swapped yet, and I don't think they will. DRS now for Haunted. This is exactly what he needs, but his teammates fighting aggressive. Whoa! Valkyrie looking as well. Valkyrie about to make it 3 wide. This could get dangerous. Haunted on the inside line of JTK. Haunted finally through. But once it becomes 5th place with Lando, Grandpa and Haunted, the gap, it's even in the championship lead. It's tied. That's what it will be after this race. If Haunted gets 5th and Grandpa doesn't get 2nd, all to play for. Inside line for Haunted on Lando. This gets tight. Not usually a move to be made, but he does get through. Tadpole the penalty. Lando going wide. Those medium tires are now wearing a ton. Lando's on 85% of those tires. He's looking to go to the softs, surely. Owen's on the softs. Owen's making all he can of it. Owen has a penalty, but he has cars in front of him on much more worn tires, and he's gaining that gap down a lot. Luckily for Grandpa and trying to chase after 2nd place, Groggers does have DRS here. I look if Lando will pit this time or not. I wonder. Valkyrie behind. Lando is in. I guess waiting for that safety car did not work out, but just revving the pit limiter. Lando is in. Now, can Haunted get 4th place over Jackstar, the McLaren teammate? If Groggers does appeal this, this will be a Ferrari 1-2, by the way. At the moment. Jackstar using a bit of battery to hold on. Haunted with the help of DRS. Battery being used from Haunted. Haunted closing the gap. Has much more pace. Runs in the back of Jackstar. You got to pick them off one at a time, but you can't run in the back of your rivals. That happened with JTK, and it was close. And here's Jackstar pinching Haunted. And there you go. Haunted can't get the place. Has to concede for the time being. Yellow flags. Lando outside the points. Right now with pitting. Comes back out. With Trot Racer also on new soft tires. Haunted looking on Jackstar. Whoa, around the outside. Whoa, this is very late in the corner. And they touch. Haunted goes off. And them coming together brings JTK back in this race for 4th place. And they're costing themselves time to Grandpa. Costing themselves time to Groggers, who wants to make it a Ferrari 1-2 at the process. We're now about to come to 3 laps to go. Alex Bears had 2 previous points finishes to his name, looking for a first podium, let alone a first win. It would be our 19th different driver on podium in this game cycle, and there's more contact at the bus stop chicane. Haunted on the outside line, trying to get through on Jackstar, is ahead. 4th place here makes him secure the championship lead at this current moment. However, Grandpa wants Groggers. Grandpa trying to get by Groggers. Talk about limiting that damage. Here's Grandpa through on Groggers. Took him a little bit, but now he's ahead. They always say 3rd time's that charm. And now Jackstar through on Haunted. Haunted looking to the inside line. Gets shoved to the curb. The door is shut, and now the door is open for JTK. Can he do it? Can the teammate get by? I mean, the teammate has been so desperate to get by his teammate for whatever reason. Don't know why, but there's a lot of points on offer for Hunted. Jackstar doing his teammate wonders here. Tret Racer with the fastest lap of the race, and now Hunted looking for more. He's got much fresher tires, but if he keeps running at the rate he's at, he's going to wear them out so much to where he can't get past in these closing laps. Oh, they come together almost. That was contact. It won't be a Ferrari 1-2 by the looks of things. You just got to hope for Grogger's sake that he could just hold on to third. I mean, this battling is going to ensure it. Around the outside, they touch. Hunted gets pushed onto the curb. Inside line here for the bus-up chicane. They almost come together. And now the teammate of JTK wants his opportunity to be involved. Penultimate lap underway. Around the outside, Hunted can't do it. Oh, JTK has to take evasive action to avoid him. And Jackstar ducks out, wanting the DRS right there. DRS mind games here for 4th place in this race. Hunted through. But now he's going to waste all that battery. Going a little wide there to Rouge. Now on the Camel Straight. Jackstar with the DRS. JTK there. We're going to see 3 wide. This gets tight. 3 wide. Jackstar through on the outside line. And now JTK pressuring his teammate. Side by side between the 2 teammates. And they almost come together. And JTK is off and out of this race. The 2 Red Bull teammates, after battling so fiercely, finally come together. Hunted now with a penalty. By the way, your race leader, Alex Baer, there, just picked up a penalty. Needs to extend a gap of 3 seconds now. He's sliding. He is definitely toward the end of his medium stint, and he needs to use that battery, and he is. If Grandpa takes advantage of this penalty here, could very well be a 10-12 point gap in the championship. So much can happen in these last couple laps. Owen on Invade. This is a point spot. Invade looking to take some points. AlphaTauri needs some points. They have not finished the points since round number 3. Haas, they have a couple points finishes their name. They'll get some with both runners at this point. And now Hunted through on Jackstar, and Jackstar challenging back. We start the final lap, but can Grandpa take Alex Baer with the penalties? Is the 3rd time the charm for Alex Baer. Alex Baer in only his 3rd start. JTK left the session. Yeah, I mean, he's out of this race. Reasonably frustrated. But Alex Baer, a 3rd start in RPL here in Tier 2. 2 points finishes his first couple starts. Looking to get on the podium for Ferrari. He's been called up today to give an opportunity to score some points and do what he can there. And now try to go for the win. And the 2 running for 4th place touch. Owen through an Invade. Yeah, can Alex Baer hold on over Grandpa? 2.1 the gap. He needs to extend the gap another second, or else he'll fall down to 2nd place. He's using all that battery to get the gap down. Or sorry, to get the gap down, to get the gap up to 3 seconds. Is there enough time, or is it too little too late? Jackstar and Hunted continue to fight. Valkyrie with Tadpole is another battle to be talked about, because Valkyrie could get within a decent gap. Invade with Owen as well. And now Alex Baer coming to the final chicane. In his 3rd start, he is trying to hold on with the penalties. He's been called to Ferrari to take the win on track. Crosses the line first. However, Grandpa comes home 2nd on track, but takes a hat trick of victories. Grandpa, a 3rd win of the season here in RPL. Grandpa takes over the championship lead with it. It's what McLaren and him needed. Grandpa back out on top. Groggers comes home 3rd. Alex Baer settles for 2nd. Hunted takes 4th on Jackstar, but with penalties applied is only 5th. Valkyrie on Tadpole. Owen gets invaded the line. Lando Norris gets 10th, the last point spot. Now we look for our runners to come through across the line. Alex Baer just short of victory in his third start. Groggers is third, completes the podium for Ferrari. Much needed third, I would say. Jack Starr, fourth. Hunted, then Valkyrie, then Tadpole, Owen. Tadpole and Owen in the points. Invade and Lando the last points. Runners, Mythic crosses the line. Leon is next, and here's Trot Racer looking for the fastest lap. Who has the fastest lap? It's Trot Racer, looking to keep the fastest lap. And he's continued doing purple sectors, but there you have it. And Trot Racer running out of battery here. And he does extend that fastest lap there. So if you want to tune in the rest of the weekend, we have Tier 2 at Singapore next week, excuse me. But the rest of the weekend, it is F2 at Hungary. No stream for that likely. And tomorrow, Circuit of the Americas at Texas for F1 action. There will be a stream for that one, though. And now our podium celebrations. Groggers with much glory. A hat trick of victories this season. The first driver to reach 3 wins. Question is, can he hang on to it, though? He's been back and forth with Hunted for the championship lead. We head to Singapore next week, over on the other side of the world, and see if Grandpa can hang on to that championship lead now that he has got back. Your final results. Here you go. Singapore next week. That will be a one to tune in for. Can the drivers deal with the heat? And still more racing to come this weekend as well. Hungary and USA as mentioned. Tune in for those. We saw an amazing race today, I would say. And Vade says he's only finished 9th this season when it comes to finishing in the points. Well, there you have it. We didn't even get our final results, did we? No, we didn't even get our final results. What in the world? Well, time to end off the stream in just a moment. However, I want to talk about today's race. The battles we had in Spa. I mean, you know what? It was a little ridiculous, some stuff. I mean, I saw it happen. Some of the battling was not the cleanest. But I must say, though, in comparison to Hungary last week, an improvement, no doubt about it. Less drivers does kind of convert to that most times. However, with what was seen there in this race, a championship battle that is really going back and forth. Hunted took it over. Grandpa takes it back. It's just a flip-flop between those two. And if we can see that for the rest of the season, we're in for a treat. No doubt about it. We have round 8, round 9, round 10, and round 11. I mean, we've got 4 races left. So tons for these drivers to do in terms of what they want to accomplish and what they can accomplish. However, we turn the table next week to Singapore. Can they accomplish what we think they're going to accomplish? And what they want to accomplish. They have their own goals. The team has their own goals for them. I mean, so much on the line. JTK as well, not what he needed. 3rd in the championship. Gonna lose that now to Groggers. Groggers back in this fight, I think, in my opinion. He's not necessarily within a race, but if something happens to these two, he's well back in it. And he's got 3rd there. Ferrari with the second team to have a double podium this season. Their last 1-2 came at Vegas. That was the last ever 1-2 there in RPL and Tier 2. Aston still battle for 5th. Best of the rest in the constructors. Their podium last week helped them. Red Bull continue their point streak. Goes all the way back to season 8. That's a very long time, in fact. I mean, tons of stuff happened in today's race. And we now look at the run toward next race. Something we didn't mention today as well, who stayed very quiet there and in the points, and it does go under the radar, Tadpole. Tadpole's had 4 lap 1 incidents this season so far, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but he has came back in some of those races, and then other races he DNF'd. So today he finished 3rd consecutive finish of the season. 3rd consecutive finish, let alone this season. But yeah, he's really turned the table, Tadpole has, and it's very nice to see. However, we'll sign off now. I mean, this championship battle between Haunted and Grandpa, this is one to watch out for. Tons of storylines here in RPL and Tier 2. Tons more tomorrow for Tier 1 between Scyther and Reese. We will see you tomorrow for Texas. The stream will be the same time as always. I will be on commentary for that one. And for Tier 2 next week, if you want to tune in the action for future races, we go to Singapore next week for round number 8. Until next time, your commentator RhinoCon31 here is signing off. Make sure to check out our Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. It is the same name on all. Until next time, I'm signing off. Whenever you're watching, have a good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you may be. And we will see you for the next time you tune in here at RPL.